Wellington and Melbourne. Kia ora tātou, haere mai. Kia ora everybody, my name's Albert Ipere. As you can see, you've got a submission from us. I'm the leader for Aotearoa and Dunedin chapter. I'll just pass on to players to introduce themselves.
Ka tangata titi, ka tangata kaka, ka tangata hoki ahau, ti he Māori ora. Ko Paddy ahau, Mason, spokesman of Mabu Mob Notorious Dunedin chapter. It's a privilege to be here. Mayor, councillors, kia ora, for having us in here to hear our views and some of our voices. So, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa.
Kia ora koutou. My name's Wally Tawhaki. I'm a member of the Mabu Mob Notorious chapter in Dunedin. Been here for a few years now. Thanks for listening to us tonight.
Hello, my name is actually Mokumuku. I'm a whānau member of the Hapu in Dunedin of Maurikaha Aotearoa. It's lovely to be here in Amihi Nui ki Hapu. What's that called? Also to see it again.
Kia ora everybody. Firstly, I'd like to thank the council. They've been supporting us since 2008 with Cycle of Change. Our partner talked about Cycle of Change, what happened there.
It's a brief history to get from several years ago, namely 2007. There was a whole lot of suicides in this town with our youth. In 2008, 4 members of the youth of Dunedin approached Mayor Chin and asked for a place in a space to debate not really the suicide, it was the aftermath and all these little groups of gangs that formed in Dunedin at that time. Out of that space and place and creating some good changes and shifts for those kids and ourselves, we went on to develop an 8-week program for the worst youth offenders in Otago, 8 of them, which made us look at taking accountability for some of the social stuff that goes on, given our history. This is really new stuff. Anyway, the point of it is that we developed a relationship further with Mr. Cowell. He supported us and our work with task force.
Since in 2010, I think Mayor Chin was still in seat. I come in and at that time we had started work with Mabu Mob Notorious, and he gave us a koha to help send a couple of the boys up to Kaikoura to do a dive course. In that dive course was to try and get people to get tickets so they could get jobs from. And in that time I come in to see Peter Chin. At that time I'd not long been out of jail. I wanted to change a few things that are for myself and my people, and at that time an opportunity arose to start work on Task Force Spring, which I did. I worked there for about 1.5 years. And in that time me and Cole had come into office and has been supporting me quite a bit. In that time part of the support that me and Cal has given us is that we couldn't find a place, so me and Cal gave us a place. At the same time, just this year we've done a trip up to Waitangi. Both pubs have gone up with our whānaus, and we got support from the mayor too. With that, I've got some photos from the mayor. I was supposed to have been a while ago. Pass those over to the mayor now. Everybody.
As I, council is, and the councils is, we're here to, as you can see, Dunedin is pretty unique because having two functions together, there's Black Power and Mangu Mob together. Time has changed. We don't live in the 70s or 80s no more. It's time to carry on for the better of the community and just to make the community safer, healthier, and the most important thing about it at the end of the day is our kids, our tamariki. It's not just the gang member kids, it's all kids what we cater for. For the last 2 years I've been concentrating on families what have problems with kids with K2. I've helped out 2 families last year. Their kids were doing suicides, and this is the sort of thing what we are concentrating on is to prevent and to make Dunedin a better place for everybody, for older, younger, doesn't matter what race. We're all in this together. We're here to actually, we're trying to better ourselves, better the community. It's a beautiful place to live. So, yeah.
Hey, I'd just like to focus on this Wakamoemoe Trust. It was created a few years ago now, and it's based in Wellington. And there's gang members all over the nation doing work with hard-to-reach families. And this is how our relationship with Albi came. The work that we do down here with our kids and our whānaus, we're with volunteers, you know. Wakamoemoe they work throughout the nation, and it goes as far as Christchurch. So this work really hits the families, the hard-to-reach families, and it comes from leaders out of both fractions that are working together that a lot of people don't know about. It goes throughout the nation, and hopefully it'll filter down to here, because we are doing a lot of work towards it. And yeah, that's a bit of background behind Wakamoemoe now.
Salvation Army here with Mangu Tours. Salvation Army are the basis behind the people program that Mangu Tours run. So that's why the Salvation Army, they're quite supportive of us in the Dunedin district too. Thank you.
I guess in narrowing all that up, it's about us making a statement that we realise that we've got the goods and would be really appreciative of some support to the social foundations being laid, I believe, with our whānaus, and now we need to create employment. And so what we're here today for is to get some support around that business plan, that these guys and our families have an opportunity to make a business. Oh, tamariki ora. Yes, that was a trip we did Waitangi this year, and it was again about putting 2 fractions together, not just for the public view, because it doesn't look like it to me, I'm just a mother, but for myself, my own evidence of shift and change, my children, and that there is a clear, progressive and productive path that's been mapped out. And I believe that now's the time that we look outside and gather as much support as we can to help beautify Dunedin. Albert's work with Task Force Spring opened our eyes a little bit to the beautification around this place, and I see it as a plus outcome. You get guys that normally can't get employment because of our history, that have the goods and can deliver it and work to good time frames and manage themselves really well. Good up.
Pine Hill community, up in Pine Hill, We help at the school. With the school we've done harness for them. We help them with the gardens. Kapahaka, we kapahaka with the kids at school. With our children, we go there and do voluntary work. With the health movie over there, we've had a health movie 4 years ago. There's a lot of Māori providers around. The Māori Party we go there too. And we're setting up another one coming up on the 5th of July. The health movie is about things that for us, from childhood to older people, healthy things. And some of us are not too keen on going to doctors and things like that. And so this is why we're setting up this, so we can help the young people. Also with our children, our Māori toys, they've set up a garden up there. We go along there and help out with that. Winter now, so we just sort of setting it together. Also up in Pine Hill, we've got a breakfast pub for the kids up there on a Monday morning that we do up there with our Presbyterian support. Just quickly, that's what our submissions about. Mainly says it up there. Just quickly, I'd like to add that we've all had colourful histories. And we're just trying to change things, we're just trying to be part of the community. And at the same time, people aren't willing to help us, and that's understandable. But I think this, everybody here are able to help us. Like Paddy was saying before, it's not about us, it's about our kids and our grandkids coming through. So we've made a path, and now we're trying to change it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I was going to ask you a question, but then you brought the last slide up and you answered it. What you're seeking is ways for council to work with you and facilitate your enterprise. Well, we clearly can't answer that right now, but it's a very positive objective, and I guess the good thing for me is when you started down this road, when you first came to see me, it was about finding a respectful place in the wider community. But I'm even more delighted that the two groups who are normally at one another's throats are cooperating. That's extremely positive. So I think we can direct you to some of our staff to have discussions around what contracts there might be available. But I'll throw it open now to wider questions from the council. Councillor Cole. Thank you very much.
It's a very uplifting near the end of our day sort of submission. Are you a sort of a loose group, the combination of the two lots of you? Are you a trust? I mean, is the proposal sort of to be something that goes through the trust, or have you got your own sort of group that has a? I'm sort of imagining a group that can employ people, or would the council contract with? Who would it be contracting with, or?
I'm just trying to grasp the question. I think I've got you. So I'm figuring that I've got a business plan here, so I've got a business staff here.
So who is it who has the business? So if I said, yes, great, I'm looking for 4 men tomorrow morning, you know, I just want to have them full-time for the rest of my life, who would be the person who would provide me with those 4 men?
4 weeks?
Or whatever they were, yeah. And when you say you, would that be you personally as the sort of owner of the business that's giving them the men to me, or would it be a combination of you, or how?
Well, at this time, it's my business plan, but in my business plan, it's the workers.
So we just nut that out somehow further down the...
You know, basically it's all about trying to get employment. And like I said, there's not many people going to employ us out there because of our colourful histories. and we get that picture. So we've got to try and create our own. And I only come up with this idea because I'm working with Pastoral Stream. And I never worked for 25 years. I had other ways to work. So, and now I don't do that. But when I was with Pastoral Stream, I'm out there doing all the weeding and I love it. And I know I was number one on the weeding list. I'm the fastest weeder around. That's how I come up with the idea. And working with Alex Strickland and just he's talking to me and I'm talking to him and bouncing ideas off one another. And that's how I come up with the idea. You know, and with it being a summer job most of the time, well then that's how I thought about the woodpits and that, to fill in over the winter period. And that was to cater for low income earners, like benefit. Because a lot of people out there on benefit, they can't afford that sort of stuff to keep them warm. Hopefully it answers your
Thank you. Yes, it does.
Councillor Wilson. Are you right? Councillor Benson Pope.
Thank you, Richard. Kia ora. Thank you for coming along. In your submission, you talk about a couple of specific things like the grass trimming or whatever and firewood.
Yep.
Are you open to any sort of suggestions? You're quite flexible about whatever clever idea someone might come up with? Okay, that's cool. Thank you.
Councillor.
Just quickly, I've got a quote in for a job at the DCC and I'm just waiting to hear back.
Councillor Bazette.
Yeah, congratulations on your submission. I think it's really good, and I think you've done the right thing going to WINS, and you've got a business plan. So I think you've made all the right moves. I just wonder if, sort of following on from the comments that Councillor Calvert has made, how you take it to the next level.
Yeah.
And have you read the staff comments with regards to your submission? Have you had a look at that?
No, I haven't, sorry.
Well, you'll get the opportunity to read that at some stage, and it's quite encouraging. And because the council wants to engage to some degree, and once you talk to staff, your idea will be taken to the next level. So I just think it's a good idea, and I'd like to think that will happen for you. But do you have some idea about what you want to do in the future? Like, if people just have to get in touch with you, who are you? What's the group's name? Do you have some sort of an organisation that you're going to, a business name or something like that?
I'm putting the business plan together and I'll put it under Oti Puti beautification.
Okay. Right. Oh, that's good. Thank you.
Councillor Thompson.
Sure. It's a similar thing, but have you got anybody alongside you who can actually advise you around the business structure stuff? Because that's where I could see it all coming horribly unstuck.
I've been working with Kelly Ellen. She's she's an auditor and she's got an Indian this business plan. But she helped me put the plan together and the number crunchings and but I know what you're saying about
because pulling the weeds out the easy part.
Oh yeah, because I'm only keen to do the work. I don't know how to do the paper's work. And that's why I'm trying to find the staff to do it. Because I'm only a worker. And I know how to talk to people.
You're more than a worker. Your colourful track record suggests you can organise things that you shouldn't, so you can probably organise things you shouldn't.
But it's a new thing for me, being in a different realm. See, this business realm over here, I know back in here. But I don't do that business. I try and get over here in the real world.
Yeah, no, I got that. I think it's going to work.
Yeah.
You're going to need somebody to get alongside you around the business structure, the kinds of things that Councillor Calvert was talking about too.
Oh,
maybe that's something you can work with.
I have been going to people, TPK, tax departments and things like that. Well, is that what you mean?
That's about it.
Staff.
I think we can find some facilitation at that level as well as the enterprise level. So, Councillor Hall.
Thank you, kia ora koutou. I just want to talk about what a lot of other people have said so far. I think it's amazing to have you guys all sitting around the table talking to us this evening. Thanks for coming. Beyond the business stuff, which is great, I just wonder if there's anything that we could do or could be looking at doing to see how we could export this model to other chapters around the country where conciliation might not be quite so forthcoming. So I think it's really great that this is happening here in Ōtepoti, but not everywhere in the country is as lucky as we are.
Yeah.
How come, is that something that you're looking at doing long term?
I know what you mean. Is I think what we're talking about, Waka Momoia, there's a trust that's going at the moment, and it's got 4 leaders from the mob, 4 leaders from the black belt, and they're leaders throughout the country. They range from Auckland down to Christchurch, and these people are the firefighters. They used to light the fires, but now they're the firefighters, and that's what they do.
But are they doing this kind of business stuff as well? Or?
There's other, like up in Wellington, there's a club up there, Black Power Waikato, which they now go do kafuis, they do all sorts of things together with Mungu Mokatoni. So there's lots of things going on in the background that nobody knows about.
Thanks for bringing them to our attention.
Nobody knows about it, just quietly happens.
Kia ora.
Thank you.
Councillor McTash.
Kia ora koutou, I just have one question, and that is the work that you're doing with Pine Hill and Araitiuru and other communities. Is that all voluntary work or? Well, okay, awesome, thank you.
The reason why we're doing most of that is it's hard to find work, and idle hands and sitting around leads to thinking about things, so we try and fill our time in the community.
And that work is coordinated by Presbyterian Support and the Salvation Army, is that right? Through your partnership?
More now is that because these guys are great directors, they're great managers, and so they've actually created a whole lot of stuff that's gone through different environments around Dunedin. So I think without realising that these guys create, manage and shift really good stuff. And it's evident in the community when you go and talk to those people, which is why I'm in awe of them, that these guys can walk their talk.
I'm actually a qualified chef. I've already got a job, but I do this as extras for Albie and the group.
And that's to help
I'd rather do this kind of work than be a chef.
We're shorter of
It's more
chefs.
fulfilling to do what we do in the community than just talking about the state.
Councillor Wilson.
Kia ora, and thank you very much for all you've done. I'm just wondering, you're doing Pine Hill, is that because that are you more focused on one particular area, or are you available to work throughout Dunedin?
Basically throughout Dunedin, the reason why we focus on Pine Hill, especially the school and the church up there, is my grandkids are up in the school, and with the church, there's a lovely lady up there, Tracy, and she's helped out the family, so we go up there and help her out. And, yeah. But we're available to help anybody.
And your skill mix obviously isn't limited to what you've just been telling us about. And you talked about kapahaka.
Yes.
And doing that. So where are you doing the kapahaka and training kids? Because it's one of the...
Last year we took Pine Hill School to a Polyfest. And the build-up to the Polyfest was that we had a hagi at the school, and instead of making a hagi for the kids, all the children participated. Right from peel the potatoes to what it looks like when we pull it out the hole, dish it up, a prayer, a song. And so for us, that reinforces what we're now teaching our grandchildren. It's not just coming from us, it's reiterated through the community, because that's what's written all over the place, isn't it? It takes the community to bring a child.
Yep.
So, it's just...
I just hope you're, in your business case you're not underselling your skill mix, because I think that's where you may actually have some really good value to the communities. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kia ora, very much for your submission. We will be in touch, no doubt. I'd like to be in touch with our staff around the job prospects, etc., enterprise prospects.
Yep.
But I also wouldn't mind a bit of an update on some of this as well, not just the photos.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
I'll go through them. Right. I'm just going to go through the list of submitters. I suspect that some of them are no longer here. Jim Fife. Sue Morley. Jim Fife.
Sue's outside. Sue's outside.
Sue, please come up. Sue.
We're gonna keep on walking forward. Keep on walking forward. Keep on walking forward. Never turning back. Never turning back. We're gonna fight for change together. Fight for change together. Fight for change together. Never turning back. Never turning back. Kia ora. Kia ora. Ola. Malolele. Ka lava. Kia ora and greetings. Good evening to you all. It's going to be kind of an easy presentation to you. So first of all, we all know that you've been sitting here listening to heaps of submissions, so we offer food to butter you up. And to, yeah, we're going to pass it around. So then, apparently on the right is savoury, and on the left is sweet. So it's your choice. So, my name is Nani Tiki. I'm the chairman for the Rockwood Community Support Trust, and I'm just going to pick up my notes because they just told me that I'm doing it first. So, who are we and what do we do? Okay, so we're a cross-cultural group, as you heard in the greetings that I greeted you in. And we're Rockwood residents that are committed to the development of our community. And it's positive and a safe place to live in. Because I just want to say that I was born and bred in Brockville. I'm a Brockville girl. When my parents moved up to Brockville around about the 1960s, we're still living in our same family house. And so most of the people on the community trust have moved back. Most of us are all kids from those. Okay. So most of us have all moved back and decided that maybe it's time that we give back to our community. Okay. During the last 2.5 years, we've been working alongside the Brockville Community Development Project umbrella. And one of the things that we've come up with is that in a strategic meeting, I don't know if you understand Māori Whakatauki, which is a proverb. support our Brockpool Community Support Trust. Our one is growing our village to nurture our people. And that is the kaupapa, or the street that we go on the Monday. Who are we and what we do? Oh, we've done that with Marine. These are the teams that have come from that fruition. So there's the Brockpool Ecological Sustainability Team, say that 10 times. That's our local gardeners, people that are community gardens, they do all that stuff, and they'll talk to that. Sue will talk to that. The Brockpool Beach team, which is the ones that are doing the festivals like the Santa Parade that we've been in for the last couple of years. The Brockpool Health and Social Services team, which is I'm a convener on. And we look at things to do with our, and talk to our community about that. And the third thing, which is great, is our Brockpool Men's Group. They're working alongside our young men, our teenagers, and they'll talk to that. Yeah. The keyword for BCST for 2014 is that the project is closing down at the end of May, which means we will lose our project coordinator. Ongoing health physical activities, that's for the Brockpool Health and Social Services team. For the best team, it's about putting taps in our garden, because we've had a few missteps with that, haven't we, Sue? And some stuff that we weren't supposed to do. Looking at hen houses and greenhouse prototypes, which is what's happening now. With the Brockpool Men's Group, their ongoing service to the community, which is firewood. One of the biggest things that we've done in our community is get firewood and get it out to our families that need it the most. And that means they pick it up, they cut it, and they deliver it. And self-development of capable New Zealand, looking at all that stuff all the way along. The events team this year applied for a grant for Poka Matariki, and so we're going to be celebrating Matariki from June to July, is that right, my team? Yeah. And the Santa Parade. So what's happening now in terms of feasibility study? We've already done the Brockpool Community Centre one. What does it look like for our people? We've done the interviews, we've done all that stuff. We've now got funding for an oral history project, which we're looking at breaking into 3, which is the history of Brockpool, growing up in Brockpool, and where to from now. And developing a community toolshed, because we've got lots of retired people up in Brockpool who've got skills that they can share and give. And supporting the kohanga reo. That's one of our main, one of the main stakeholders up there, apart from the school, and working alongside whānau. And the umbrella for the micro facilitation work with Bob Neville, that's what we're trying to do to upskill ourselves, or look at ways of moving. Yeah, is that it? That's me? Yeah, so, yeah, next person. And the other thing is, we're still going to carry on with or without him. So, yeah, thank you.
Okay. So, I'm going to talk about the feasibility study, and we, as you know, Brockpool is one of the hill suburbs, 3,000 residents, over 3,000 residents, and so it's, yes, it's a mix of local people and a lot of immigrants. That's roughly the site, the suburb. Yeah, so the Brockpool Community Center feasibility study, we have some funding from the Department of Internal Affairs, and we are supported by the Brockpool Community Support Trust, and we're assessing options to build a community center to host all these activities that we've been talking before, and some new activities as well. So the center will be to invite all residents of all ages to share their knowledge, activities, sports, and to celebrate the culture and the diversity that exists in the community. And it intends to be an excellent example of efficient design and promote sustainability. So it will be a space to share the skills and to learn and to support each other in the way we're growing. So how we're going to do this And so the first thing we're looking at is to define a brief. So we're actually consulting on the community to understand what the community wants and to explore management models to support the center and see how we can have a long-term support for the center and looking at sites. So we're exploring ways of which sites could be used and are available around Rockville. And we'll integrate all this into a design proposal, and then from there we'll seek for funding to see how we could build the facility. So in the consultation process, we're undertaking a survey at the moment, and so we're asking all the community or we're offering the community to have their own, to have their opinion on the different activities that we could hold here in the center. So we have the survey. We're also asking or consulting with the school, the Ministry of Education, Housing New Zealand, UCC, and the community groups around Rockville. And so the survey is going around. It's going door to door to all residents and giving them the opportunity to submit some of the ideas are there, and we're trying to see what the brief is going to be from that survey. And there's also an online tool that they can use to comment or to discuss in school. And these are some of the ideas. No, that's right. So some of the ideas, a lot of words here, but some of the ones that highlight space to do sport, health and well-being, cultural, educational, we have support, all the things that are happening already in Rockville and new things. We thought about radio, arts and crafts, everything that we can offer a space to. And we want to promote sustainability in practice. And so very cool. To keep on growing. So how would the DCC help? Well, we're looking for a site, so providing access to some land that we could use for developing our project, funding for part of the building center, and supporting us with the community center activities and management that we'll need along the way. And the community center will belong to everybody, so the whole city could use the center, and it will be a great thing to have. It will be also an educational tool, a building, and to promote sustainability. I would like to know what the DCC has to say about it.
So I'm speaking on behalf of the best, we're the best. Rockville Ecological Sustainability Team is a bit of a mouthful, so we're known as best. So we've done quite a lot of things over the last 3 years. We've run emergency workshops. We've done an investigation into the possibility of having an urban farm. We've set up Hapori Marakai, which is a community garden. And there's a beautiful photo of me and Mr. Cole getting an award from Keep Dunedin Beautiful, which was wonderful. And we've established a community orchard. And we run preserving workshops. We do community cleanups. And this LA's project is a hen house, glass house prototype, which is made out of recycled materials. The first one has just been built, as you can see. So these are all the things that I've just listed that we've been involved in. We've participated in workshops, we've organised expos, we've network meetings. In 2013 we got a Merit Award from Keep Dunedin Beautiful, and in 2014 we got the Supreme Award. So how can the council help us? We'd love to have some financial and technical help, especially with getting water onto our sites. There's no readily water. I got a quote recently from somebody to put water on the site. It was $2,000, which is a lot of money for a volunteer group to get. So some help with that. And just some technical help too, so that we can carry on, especially into community resilience and sustainability, and I see that's in the council. So any help that we can get, tapping into that expertise would be great. Thank you.
Okay, it's my turn. Up again. Sorry, tick for me. Yeah, I'll turn to change it. One of the things that we've done as a health and social services team is have a movement that worked alongside MoveMe, where we had walkways around Brockville that we turned into activity walks for our community. Supported the local chemist because there wasn't a chemist up in Brockville for a very long time, and he's only just come back in the last 4 or 5 years. Yep, 4 or 5 years. This was funny, the Welcome to Brockville packs, because you get new people coming into the community all the time and they don't know who you are. So we decided we'd look at, be adventurous and creative and look at a Brockville pack, which had toilet paper and all that stuff in it, all those emergency things that you need when you're shifting into a new home. And we used occupational therapist students from the Taga Policy. Sue brought up the urban farm. Now we had a women's school because we talked about the women that run the village, because we always think that our women they're the utmost important people in our village because they keep things running. So one of the things we wanted to do was honour them in our community. And so we had a pampering and planning time as how that would look like, with looking after your kids, where it was that time dad's due to look after the kids, have a massage on your hands and your feet, stuff like that. Community research. Now, one of the things that we know is important is that you've got to find out what your community want. You want their voice. You want to hear what they have to say. So, like I said before, we've done a community feasibility study on what a health centre would look like. Went into people's homes, sent out surveys, and on the second one, which is the physical activity strategy one, which we will be presenting to our community, the results of it. These are just a few pictures of that Brockville Welcome Pack. And the next, the Women's Hui. And this is where we involved our kindergarten and our kohanga reo to get our parents to actually, so what would you like to see Brockville? So one-on-one, talking to them. We would like to say Paul Coffey. Now Paul Coffey, we knew nothing about him. And he talked about the well-being strategy with the DCC. We didn't do anything about it, but we'd really like to acknowledge him because he was someone that gave us advice, someone that supported what we were doing. And like I said, we're going to keep on walking forward. And that is it from the Health and Social Services team. And I'll pass on to the next person.
I'm the last speaker for this group, and so I'm really speaking about the work of the men's group and also some of the events that we've been involved with as well. So primarily the men's group is made up of a lot of us who've either grown up in the area or who live and work together in different parts of our own professional lives. We provide support for one another and our families, but also professionally with some of the work that we do in the community. Our work most recently has mostly been with young men who have either on their way into the correction system or have come out. And so we've also been approached by corrections to put together some kind of formal working agreement to work to be a go-to kind of group for men who need some kind of rehabilitative support back in the community. Some of the other work that we do is we try and provide positive role modelling for our young boys, especially, and part of that was the collaboration with the community in Tomahawk, which is where the name Brockville comes from, and that was a collaboration for the Trolley Derby most recently, and those costs for the Trolley Derby were met by the Trust to enable the build and also to kit out our young drivers on those trolleys. We mentioned also about firewood, so part of the other work that we do in the area is about ensuring that we keep our families and our households warm, and that's being able to source firewood supply, be able to get up there to bring them up, split them all, and then just take orders and deliver them to families. Okay, so the Trust has been the trust has borne a lot of the cost for that, so that families don't have to actually fork a lot of money out initially. And also, having to load them or respond to the residents who can't actually get a piece of firewood into their fire box because it's too big, so we will go around and split it for them. And other fundraising activities such as painting contracts around the community, around the city, such as Neighbours Day. We went around and did a few household jobs for different residents, not only in Brockville but also in different parts of the community, and some contacts that LJ had and gave to us. So we were able to go and do a bit more of that work. But the events that we're also involved in, such as Waka Matariki, and so the men do provide, I guess, a lot of the grunt for that, but we also ensure that we provide an opportunity for our residents to be part of that work with us. Neighbours Day, of course, and also being showcasing what we do up on the hill in the Santa Parade. So, I said these are just some photos. That was the three wise men with Sid 80 in the middle. And then and then some photos from Waka Matariki. These are photos of a umo that we had prepared, which is similar to a hangi, but was prepared Pacific or Samoan style. Neighbours Day 2013, so up at the community garden and trying to encourage more of our residents to be actively involved with the garden, but also about working together as neighbours. And this is just one of a few photos of some of the firewood projects that we're involved with. Oh, here we go, proper trolley group. So, yeah, so that's just, some visual of some of the work that we do.
Thank you. Now, are you happy to take questions? Well, I wonder if the team would come up and we'll open up for questions to council. Come around the end of the table. Councillor Calvert, you would.
Thank you so much for that. Again, lovely. We're getting these lovely uplifting things at the end of the day, which is fabulous. The building you're looking to build, is there any church building or school hall or anything in Brockville? And is there a reason why, if there is, they're not at all suitable for your needs? I'm not saying they ought to be, I'm just saying that quite often there is some of those things, and I was just wondering whether that they haven't provided the hub that you were hoping for, if there are those sorts of things.
Yeah, there is the church and the school, and they both host a lot of these activities. But what we're thinking is that some people, well, two reasons. One is that sometimes you can't use the whole of the school for like things that are outside of the school. Sometimes you can, but not always. And the same with the church. Some people might not want to use that space for things that are outside of the church activities. And also, we're thinking about sports of a different scale. So basketball court won't fit in any of those spaces. But having said that, a new center will be open to those events that maybe those entities can bring to the community. So for big events that the school might need to organize, then that can happen in the center, which, so yeah, but part of the feasibility study is looking at those spaces and why they are not suitable or why they are suitable. Really part of that.
Yeah, some of us actually, we were looking at the recreation centre in Waipoiti, and just looked at that as a, because that is not just a pavilion as such, but it's a community hub, if you like, and we're looking for a centre that would draw more of the residents together, other than those that just go to the church for church business, etc., and those who go to the school because there's school activity on. So we're really just trying to reach out to those residents who don't actually have a lot of contact with each other, and trying to find somewhere a bit more central and somewhere which has a bit more of a pull in terms of the community.
Councillor Hawkins.
Thank you. Kia ora koutou. Thanks for all your great work, and I don't just mean fixing things at LJ's place on Neighbours Day. The henhouse glasshouse thing is amazing, but I think the Rock Hawk and Pineville stuff I find really exciting, because we have a lot of some really great community-based work going on, and it's really good to see those communities then interacting. And I just wondered if you could talk about if you've noticed what impact those relationships have had since on the work that you're doing in Rockville specifically. If that makes sense.
Yes, it does make sense.
I'll try to answer your question.
I'll get mine to talk about the Pineville stuff, and I can talk about the Rock.
Yeah, I guess it was an initiative because when you talk about networking within your communities, you actually know people in other communities that are working in it. And so for us, it was about tapping into those networks, talking to those people that work within that community, and being able to set up something so that we could share, because we have lots of information, we have lots of things that we can share as a community and that network. So the group that was in here before us, we connected to them in some shape or form, be it through the gardening, be it through the school that they're connected to up there by the gardens and stuff. But yeah, it was kind of hard work, because if you're going into a community that doesn't really know you and you don't actually know anybody in it, it's hard to actually establish the relationship. You have to actually make sure that that relationship is there. I'm coming from that, because to me, there's no results. There's never any right answer. You have to just, to me, you go with the flow, and whatever that relationship brings up, so be it. And then you work with them. Did that answer your question? Was I clear?
Yeah, that's great.
Cheers.
I think the other thing to acknowledge was just the collaboration with the local school and the collaboration with Pine Hill, and realising that there was a great opportunity for the two communities and the two schools to be able to work together to pull off that Pineville experience, should we say. And with the Rock Hawk, similar to Pineville, we knew people in the Tomahawk community, and we also had similar or common a common vision for our young people, our children, to be part of those activities together. And so being able to bring what we had from our own Rockville community and also from Tomahawk and work together, and the trolleys were built out in Tomahawk, and so it was a whole from design on paper through to the full build at the end. And it was a great experience that the children enjoyed. Tried patience for, I think, some of the adults were involved, but all in all, I mean, you don't know until you actually give it a go. But the outcome was fantastic.
Just wondering what time frame the feasibility study is on.
It will be over the next 4 months.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
And you're in dialogue with Paul Coffey's team or another team in council about that work? Would you like to be?
Yes, I'd like to be.
Okay. Thanks.
Councillor Noon.
Thank you, Worship. Sue has disappeared, I think, but she mentioned about the issue with water on a piece of land. I wanted to try and understand, the piece of land, is that private land or is it publicly owned land? Or?
Well, currently there's two spots really. I mean, we have with the community garden, and we have access to water for that garden is through the kohanga next door. And so we've had to, or some of the residents have had to be quite creative in how that source of water can actually get to the garden. And also at the community orchard, where water is coming in from the neighbour. And so, and that orchard is on, well, council land. And so it's really just trying to see where we can get funding to be able to allow access to water, or some kind of facility where rainwater can be gathered so that it can remain sustainable.
I'm sure Paul Coffey can deal with one of the right person.
Right, thank you very much for your submission, and no doubt we'll be interacting, or Paul or someone from the Water Department or whatever will be interacting with you with regards to those things you need and with regards to some of the ongoing. Thank you. Right. Marina Fissa.
Mauri ora, I'm Marie Lothiso. I am the outgoing worker for the Brockville Community Development Project. My job finishes on May 31st. You may have read of our conflict with Department of Internal Affairs, which has made us finish 6 months early, but that's okay. And now I'll hand it over to my boss, Reverend Andrew Scott.
Thanks, Marie. Thank you for taking the time to listen to what we've got to say. Brockville, as you will probably be aware, is an area that has relatively low socio-economic development, and it's a place where small investments made wisely can reach large gains. We've had 2.5 years, or 3 years really, of DIA funded project that's provided impetus to important community-led initiatives that you've just been listening to, and it's been really exciting to be a part of that and to see the way that people within our community are talking to each other in a way that they haven't done before. There have been quite literally hundreds of people that I have met that I would never have got to have a conversation with in all likelihood because of this community project, and it's pointed the way for us for further social and economic developments that we can see going on in our community. But we're incredibly vulnerable at this particular point. As has already been mentioned, our funding ends on the 31st of May, 3 years since the first payment. And of course, as councillors and politicians, you know how important 3 years is, and the fact that you can't get everything done you want to do in 3 years. It's the same with the community project, and the investment that has been made in our community and the incredible value that we've seen from that investment runs the risk of slowly fading away because we haven't got the resources to continue a lot of the work that has been begun. Of course, when you get something going, you need to get it firmly bedded in. And we've got stuff going, but it's not bedded in as it really needs to be just yet. We believe that with significantly small amounts of money, that we can continue the project, we can continue the developments and the encouragement and the building up of our community. We just need a little bit of support. We already have the structure, the systems and the skills in place to provide maximum value for the input that's given to us, and I think that we've already shown just what we can do with a little bit, because it has actually only been a little bit. $90,000 a year including GST for 3 years, and you can see what we've got out of that. Now that's pretty darn good payback, if I can say that. So we would like to ask you to consider as a council helping us to continue the project, both in terms of support, encouragement and financially. So that's my submission. I just want to keep it short.
Thank you for that. Questions, councillors? Councillor Wilson.
So I'm unclear as the quantum that you were wanting.
Sorry?
What was the quantum?
How much do you want?
Well, we'll take $90,000 a year if you'll give it to us.
Yeah, minimum?
Anything you'll give us. Quite seriously, we'll use what we get to maximum value.
Councillor Pitt.
Yeah, thanks very much. Very inspiring what's happened up in your communities. But I'm just wondering, has the DIA said no to an extension on the 3 years?
Yes, they have. Yes.
They said yeah.
They give very few extensions around the country, and nationally, our understanding is there are about 10 different communities who are applying, and I think they gave out 2. Is that like that? Yeah. Councillor McTabb.
Is it their expectation that at the conclusion of each of these 3-year periods, things will be self-sustaining? Or is it their expectation that the local authority will step in and fund?
The language that's used says you're going to be self-sustaining at the end of 3 years.
Right.
The practical reality is that that's actually very hard to achieve. So, yeah, that's where we're at.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your submission. Thank you. Greatly appreciate it. Fiona and Bill Smeaton. Welcome, and I apologise for keeping you waiting. The day has drawn out. So the next 5 minutes are yours entirely.
We're here today as landowners of a part of the Greenfields 9B subdivision, industrial land subdivision of Dukes Road, Mosgiel. I just got a paper, some stuff I'd like to read out to you. In 2000, the history of what we're here for is in 2002-2003, a report and submission process took place to create a Greenfields industrial park in Dukes Road, Mosgiel, effectively rezoning farmland to industrial to future-proof the economic development of Dunedin City, as it was stated that we would have increased demand in the future. The land was duly rezoned, and over the past 12 years, several developers have looked and tried to buy the land, but one of the sticking points has become the services to the area. When the land was rezoned, all the neighbours entered into an agreement with the council for the Dunedin City Council to buy their properties at market value within 10 years. As yet, the land is undeveloped, but most of the neighbours have sold up and moved on. Rates. In 2008, the rates of the properties rose significantly from approximately $1,700 to $7,129 because of the increase of the market value because of the industrial zoning. The table below shows the rates that have been paid on this property over the past 6 years. The property is still a lifestyle block, and as you can see, the amount collected by the council on rates has been in excess of $50,000. Please note that this does not include Otago Regional Council rates. The district plan. When this land was originally zoned industrial, we believed the council would follow through and service the area, and attached you will find letters from members of the DCC, including the then CEO Jim Harland, stating that services would indeed be put into the land, some stating that this would happen around 2008-2009. The reason we are here today is to get this proposal back on the district plan. At present, this land is sitting in limbo, which it has done for the past 12 years with no future direction. The council has spent a lot of money to rezone this land and should follow through and meet its obligations to provide the services to the land. This would provide scope for any purchaser to come in and develop the land for future economic development, as was originally the intention of the land rezoning in the first place. Many potential purchasers have looked at this land over the years, but to no avail. Personal cost. While at some stage we as the landowners agree that we will benefit from the sale of this land, I can tell you from personal experience it's been a long 12 years. My parents, who occupy the dwelling, are semi-retired and unable to stop work because of the costs associated with the property.
They are motivated to sell and want to move to a smaller, more manageable property, but with no services on the horizon, it makes the land a bit of a lemon. My father will be 70 this year and was still footing some large bills for rates. Luckily, a more realistic valuation has come to light and will alleviate some of the burden. But it's been hard for them to see all the neighbours around them leave with money from the council and no support for them or their plight. So I ask you to consider putting some services on the plan so that the future of this land can be put to the use it was intended for. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Can I just kick off the questions by asking if it is an option for your parents to sell to the council? No, I'm not saying they should, I'm just saying is that?
Oh, absolutely. We just want to sell the land and move on.
Right, so I don't understand, the agreement was that the council would buy the land?
No, the agreement...
The agreement across the road.
Across the road was, not this one.
No, we're sitting on the land that all the neighbours decided, you know, if it was zoned industrial, they didn't want to live beside. So the council entered into an agreement with the neighbours, with them, because they were then going to be beside industrial land or an industrial whatever. They didn't want to be there anymore, so they got a sort of like get out of jail clause, can I call that they could sell their properties.
Why was, I should know this, but because I know some of the history of this, but why were your parents excluded from that agreement?
Well, they're sitting on the land, so I mean the land is it's their property that's been rezoned industrial.
It was the DCC's decision not to.
Yeah.
So the neighbours were accepted.
Yeah.
They didn't.
Yes. Yeah.
Because they want to live next to it.
Yes.
Councillor Wills.
After people doing an Andrew Noon and asking questions, which I think I know the answer to, but for clarity, because it didn't come out, your parents opposed the plan change just as the neighbours did?
Yes.
Yeah, they did at the time.
And fought it some way at some personal cost to themselves, fighting that plan change as well?
Yes, they did.
Yeah, thank you.
Councillor McTabb.
I'm just to clarify that the services clearly extend to the neighbours, is that right? Because
I believe that, I'm not too sure if any of the 9B industrial subdivision out there has any services on it. It's one of these things, maybe the top of it has, because...
Yes, it does. Some of it does. The old Vortex farm has services to services end at Cross Street, which is where wood mouldings entry is. So they need services from there to the animals, which is not far. It's probably a couple hundred metres.
Yeah. It's just, I mean, you know, like when a developer comes in, you know, we would like to sell the property, but of course anybody who wants to potentially develop it for industrial purposes has got, you know, it's sort of stuck in no man's land, if we can put it, you know, like that. So to make it viable to sell, and you know, we went to a meeting with a member of the council last year in regard to this, and you know, of course there is an increased value with it being industrial, and we accept that. But you know, it's sort of like it was done, you know, and there was huge cost to the council to rezone it. But it just hasn't been followed through, and as I say, we've probably had a lot of purchases have fallen off the property because, you know, there's nothing in the horizon to say that it's ever going to become a full industrial land, so it's sitting in no man's land.
Just to be really clear, so the rezoning process was instigated by
the council.
Right.
We're under the expectation that whoever rezones it is liable to put services there. Yeah. This is what we're told by some council members.
Couldn't possibly comment.
Yeah.
But it is.
I mean, we understand. Like, I mean, we're not developers. We don't want to be property developers. We just, you know, it's now come to the stage where my parents want to move on.
Yeah.
They can't.
Councillor Staines.
Just so it makes it even more clear to everyone, effectively what the rezoning has done is made the land value higher.
Yeah.
Yes.
So no one who wants to run a lifestyle block is going to buy it.
No.
The first value when it came out, it was valued at 4.2 million, I believe, and that's what we're paying rates on. And it's now they've rezoned it, revalued it, and it's going against. We're not quite sure yet. There's still a debate about that.
The revaluation hasn't been done by QV.
No, that's
and so it's going through an appeal process at the moment, which should be dealt with by the end of the month. So
it's been talked to us, it's taken 5 months for that alone.
Which means we're still paying nearly $10,000 a year in rates for something that's, if it was zoned
For the current use.
yeah, for current use, it would be probably worth about $1 million, 1.2 maybe at the most, as a lifestyle property.
And like, I mean, you know, we understand, you know, why it was rezoned, but it's just, it's also made it unsaleable.
So across all of the 9B land,
yes,
how many businesses or industrial businesses have moved there?
Very few at the moment. There is some movement further the northern side of us, with the old Vortex farm. There is
All the
some
properties
buildings.
have actually changed hands during the subdivision, except our one. Pretty much. Yeah. So it's just, you know, we just would like to get it future-proofed.
That's the whole.
In other words, all the other properties were fully serviced, where yours was the only one that never serviced?
No, there's 10 acres next to north of the bus is not serviced.
But
the council did buy that land.
The council did buy that land though, yes.
Yeah, since resold it. So
yeah.
Okay. Thank you. We will deal to this.
Been hanging around far too long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
We're getting older every day.
We do appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Patient Mr. Weggery.
Welcome, Linda.
How you doing? I was going to be lucky at that.
So, the next 5 minutes is yours entirely. Sorry about the wait.
No, that's fine. I understand. I trust you have a copy, so for the sake of brevity, I've just confined my remarks to one particular favourite subject, and I'll read this through and then be open to questions. Councillors, for the time allocated, I want to confine my remarks to the stadium review. In terms of the good summary on pages 15 to 16 of the draft plan, it is clear that despite good efforts to pay off the debt faster, and despite all the support from ratepayers totaling $9.125 million per annum, DVML is still facing an operational loss of $1.4 million for 2014-15 and beyond. And now we are told another $1 million may be needed to meet its budget, reinforcing the medium risk assumption on page 174 of the plan. Clearly, this can't go on. And I am pleased, as are many ratepayers, that a review has been called for. As I understand it, the aim of the review is to look at risks, scenarios and options so that a permanent solution can be found. But, and here is my question, will the results of this review, outlining a range of alternative funding models, be made public first and meaningful consultation, perhaps as an extension of this annual plan process, sought with ratepayers before a final solution is agreed to by Council? Future funding of the stadium is, I believe, the elephant in the room. And while not necessarily affecting our target of no more than 3% increase in rates from 1st July this year, I understand that 2015-16 will be a huge challenge to meet that goal. Given the sad history of the stadium and previous councils' blind determination to proceed with this project, in the face of majority opposition, present council, I would respectfully suggest, owes it to ratepayers to consult over the recommendations of the review. Is this not part of the healing process? Personally, I would like to see DVL and particularly DVML scrapped and the management of the new stadium brought back within council and perhaps run as a business unit. Sure, we'll take back the debt of $146.6 million, but it was always ours to pay off anyway. Then DCHL could go back to making dividend payments from honest earnings to council to offset rates, and perhaps do away with the murky practice of subvention payments, which I see the council took great pains to explain what they meant in the annual plan. Furthermore, and thanks to Richard and Hilary for this knowledge at the forum last November, our Group Chief Financial Officer, Grant McKenzie, would regain legal control over the limits of any future stadium borrowing. A facility I understand he does not have at the moment with the council group of companies. And I would like to suggest that is a very important point for council to consider in terms of review. Finally, I would like to remind you all what the ODT editorial said on 21 January 2014, and I quote, "Dunedin has many ratepayers on fixed and limited incomes and is not wealthy. A point I would add highlighted in your own risk assessment on page 171 of the current draft plan." Thank you.
Thanks, Lyndon. Now, can I just clarify something? Mr. McKenzie is Group Financial Officer.
Sorry, mate.
No, you've got that there.
Yeah.
So he has as much control over all of the finances of the group as anyone could.
That is not the understanding that we got at the Financial Forum, and I look to Hilary and Richard to clarify that.
Well, I can assure you that that is the case. Because he is the financial officer for both the companies and the council. And he therefore works with the board of DCHL as well as with the council.
But our understanding, with great respect, was that he doesn't have the statutory authority to control the limits of borrowing from the council companies, unlike our own core debt. That was the understanding, and I took the note down in my...
No, the council does.
Yeah, council controls its own core debt, and we appreciate that. But there is a concern that your financial officer, Grant McKenzie, who currently holds position, does not have statutory authority from central government to control, limit, and perhaps effectively manage the group company.
That's what I'm saying. He doesn't need it. Council has that. Council is his boss, and council is DCHL's boss. Council has that.
Okay. Well, if you think that that's not going to be a problem, I just wanted to raise that.
Yeah, because no lack of control.
Yeah. But there is that statutory grey area, and that was brought out.
I appreciate that, but I don't know that there's any situation where a staff member has statutory authority over over a publicly owned body. It has to be the elected body that has the authority.
Perhaps I would suggest that could be just clarified and checked.
Absolutely.
As part of the review.
Absolutely. So, with that, I'll open up to questions. Any questions from anyone? Thank you, Lyndon. Appreciate your submission. Now, next. Laurie. Laurie.
Thank you. Right, just like myself, I'm going to keep it short and sweet. Well, 50% there anyway. No, I'm fine. I actually don't like sitting down. It makes me look short. I would like to put forward a submission in support of heritage funding and reuse of heritage buildings, with the council option preferred free as my preferred as well. Surprise, surprise. I just believe that if council spends, well firstly, I'll actually like to thank you all, or thank the council for what has been done down in the warehouse precinct today. I don't know how many of you have been down there recently, had a look at the paving. I mean, you should, you've helped pay for it, so. And it's tremendous, it's absolutely fantastic. The plantings have gone in. I must admit, suffering with delusion, I thought that it had been done purposely because we were going to develop 76 Vogel Street, but then when I looked over all the old plans, I actually realised it's been in the planning for years, with the lovely paving out front, because we're doing it into a cafe and home goods store. And with that out front, that just is just so going to make that business work. Tables can go out front. And I mean, it's not just, I'm not just asking for council for a handout, because you guys have spent money, but we've also spent some significant amounts of money. And I just want to encourage you to just keep on doing it.
Spending money.
Yep, well, it's the only way to make money. Anyone in business will tell you that.
In contrast to the previous submitter.
It's not us, it's the people of Dunedin who have spent the money.
Yes, correct, totally correct. And exactly, but by supporting and causing areas to regenerate, you will actually make more money, which will help through rates take, which will help keep those rates down in the future. You've only got to look at what's down in Crawford Street with what we've done with the old Mackendale buildings. 5 years ago right now, I was pretty sad in regards to we'd lost a tenant that had been there for 114 years or whatever, and council gave us rates relief. And at the time, that bought us a little bit of time and allowed me to plan how we were going to redevelop that site, split it back up into separate tenancies, and by doing that, if you look at your rates take since then, it's significantly increased. So there's the evidence. And I just think by doing what you're doing out front of the small amount that is being done out front of those buildings, another one which of course I am being self-centered on, which is the A.H. Reid building. If something was done out front of that, even though the building has not yet passed into its new owner because it's still going through due diligence, when the new owner takes it over, they want to do it into 10 studio apartments. So you can imagine what your rates take, and your rates take at the moment is minimal on that. It's essentially nothing because I've got a rates relief on it, but it will significantly increase. And it may not happen immediately, as anyone will tell you in business. You've got to invest, and sometimes it just takes a lot of time before you actually get the revenue stream back on from that investment. And the reason I'd like to encourage you to keep on doing what you're doing, because I think that we've now got this happening down in the warehouse, but we've sort of got to get the connection back to the chief post office in Bond Street. That area, I did say Bond, not Bomb. It needs around that area connecting back to the exchange. The plan's already there. By doing a little bit more, I know you are actually going to have the connection, so we don't have to commit suicide every time we run across the one way, or nearly commit suicide. There is actually going to be pedestrian crossings, and people will be treated as though they are actually respected. Now, artworks. I know that the artists come along and they say, oh, can we have some money for some funding? And this is once again a patting everyone on the back. Here, who has been down and seen this? And that's on our wall at 76 Vogel Street. And that cost council a free resource consent. That's what council did. Okay, it was paid for by building owners and business owners. And that is just going to create an icon. Apparently, like I better things to do than check on the internet, but on a worldwide scale, that is big, apparently so, and it was quite scary if 76 Vogel Street became the second most visited building in Dunedin after the railway station. So we are doing things ourselves as well. It's not just sitting here waiting for council, and in the past I've said, okay, you guys go and do something with the streetscape, tidy up the paving, we will do something about ours. To back that up, the gates, although I have enjoyed the advertising with the Zeal gates on the back of 76 Vogel Street, they're only a temporary. They are going to be replaced by the lovely wrought iron that I bought off the council 20 years ago, once they'd finished with it down at the railway station. So I'm just, basically we'd just like you to, I think the whole thing, you've gone this far, let's just keep it going.
You ready to take questions, Laurie?
Am I?
Happy to take questions?
Yeah, sure. Sure. Anyone go?
Oh, Councillor Benson.
Thank you.
Had your name down.
Mr Mayor. Would it be fair to say that your enthusiasm, and I've got to make this a question, you understand, and energy around this sort of development is one of the main drivers of the sort of change that you're also congratulating us for. So I think you should be, we should be very grateful to what you've displayed, you and your colleagues have displayed in that area.
Yes.
And I think it's a marvellous combination of a number of factors that are just working brilliantly. And one of them's over there, of course, but he had the hair embarrassed on his head last night at someone else's praise. Thank you very much, especially for the fish.
Thank you. There will be more of us. I'm not the only, there's not just myself, there will be more. The ones that buy the AH3 building will be the next lot of mad buggers.
Did you know we're trying to arrange a heritage bus trip for the tours next year, which is taking in Vogel Street?
Yes, I do, and that's where we've already, through the internet, fired that on to our tenant in the cafe, and she's very keen for the bus tours to finish there. And
no, won't be finishing there. They're going right. They're going through there. They've got to stop somewhere for lunch. Yeah, that's not a problem. But they're taking them the gasworks, Ocean Beach Railway, Vintage Fire Brigades, and Historic Precinct is what we're trying to arrange. So if I give you a contact for them, would you be interested in that? Or
is that Philip Riley?
Does Philip?
Yeah, no, we're already doing it though.
Yeah.
And so the internet's a wonderful thing. You get bombarded with it, and the good stuff you pick up and fire it on to someone else who can use it. Yep.
Any further questions? Councillors? Thank you. Thanks, Laurie. Thanks for all your efforts.
Told you it'd be short and sweet.
Thanks for your patience.
Yes. He goes under the name of Clear. Yeah. He is going to come back. He is. He's so enjoyed Dunedin.
Mr Smith, Mr Linterman, oh, Mr Dunbar.
Good pleasure.
And you're from the Energy Efficiency and Conservation Authority. I'm sorry that we kept you waiting.
That's okay, we've enjoyed the hospitality of your city.
And things have got a bit loose by this hour of the evening, but there you go.
Well, I think we had a lucky laugh, so we'll make it short and sweet. I have a quick PowerPoint that I want to run through.
You tend to come to these and offering us money, is that what we're doing this time? Yes.
We're offering money.
It's what we have to say.
Robert's been in Dunedin quite a bit recently.
Thank you, Julie. So, foremost have also been part of the Cosy Home Governance Group, getting that established as well, so that's starting to get some traction as well. So, quickly, we'll run through these. So, we're here to support the Voluntary Targeted Rates Initiative that you've had running for a while. We think it's great and it's working really well in other parts of the country. ECA is the Energy Efficiency and Conservation Authority. We are an authority of government, so we are central government, and we do have a bit of money in the tin that we bring to Dunedin. We all know that, I'm not going to sort of go through and read all these, we all know the value proposition around why we should insulate, and if anybody doesn't, speak to me afterwards. The Council's voluntary targeted rate scheme has provided insulation for over 500 homes since its inception, and we just want to confirm that we want to support the ongoing voluntary targeted rate scheme, because under the Cosy Home program that you've got, this is a mechanism by which we can get homeowners access to funding whereby they may not otherwise have access to it. I'm going to jump around a bit because I don't want to go through it. You can quickly read this as I go through. The work that's been done is great. The VTR is an important part of getting houses insulated, and around the country, the councils that we have engaged with, we've already delivered about 20,000 homes through the voluntary targeted rate mechanism. And one of the things we haven't got in here, but is a key issue, is that only about 25% of the market has a mortgage. Now that's a surprising number, but that's about where it's at. So for people who don't have mortgages, who don't have access to banks, this is a really good, effective mechanism for them at very little cost to go and target getting their houses fixed up. We're obviously in the insulation game, but there are other things that need to be done to people's homes, and so obviously clean air is an issue for council and for the regional council, and so the voluntary total rate will assist in dealing with that as well. So just an aside, the program that we're running at the moment, the insulation program that we're running at the moment, is targeting low-income, high-health need people. So the general income market, what we call the general income market, doesn't have access any longer to grant subsidy from government. So they've got to do it on their own. And so this is why the voluntary target rate is again a great mechanism, because it enables people to do this. Now we've talked about 18,500 homes, roughly 20,000 homes have been done nationally under voluntary targeted rates. We've talked about the program, it's $100 million over 3 years, but it's targeting the low-income households. So the general income market doesn't have access to this in the future. And we've done 612 homes in Dunedin this year. Who's eligible? Well, it's low-income, high-health need people. The people in the photograph there were people that we did in South Auckland, one of the first family, and they were wrapped with it immediately after the work was being done. So we know about the value proposition. I don't have to sell that to you guys. So why is the VTR scheme important? This is what we've talked about. It's about targeting the general income people who don't get a grant from the government, who aren't eligible for a grant, and within your Cosy Home program, within the council itself, by 2025 we want every house in Dunedin insulated. This is a really good mechanism to achieve that. Your report raises the issue about the need to borrow. Other councils treat VTR as a self-funding program, so be mindful that you're borrowing money and lending it to homeowners who are repaying over an 8 or 9 year period. But again, you've got the security of the home, because the rates is the first port of call should there be a default in repayment. There is an interest rate associated with the borrowing, and there's a margin in that interest rate which helps cover admin costs of the council. ECA supports the program by offering a auditing regime. So we're ensuring that the right quality of product is being used. We're ensuring that the people doing the work meet the criteria that we have set for the program, even though this work is outside of our program. We're still continuing to offer auditing to ensure these mechanisms are in place and are being delivered correctly. And we also offer our operational support should you need it within your council staff. So under the Warm Up New Zealand program, so the last 5 years we've insulated 13,500 homes in the Otago region. We don't have the numbers at hand for Dunedin itself, but I hear you've got about 50,000 homes here, so you can work out the percentages in relation to that. So collectively we've done about 7.5% of the population. It still leaves a huge amount to be done. And if we don't find some funding mechanisms to break down the barriers to get these people to do it, then it won't happen.
Can I just ask about that? Sorry.
Yes, certainly.
That total you were talking about there, they are homes that are uninsulated, or they're total homes?
No, this is the total number of the 76,000 homes, the number of homes in the Otago region. We've insulated 13,300 of those.
Righto, but a lot of them will be insulated.
Well,
so do you have actually the figures that are meaningful? Sorry, but that doesn't tell me anything, because that's 75% of the housing.
Yes.
I don't know. My house is fully insulated. So,
when was
so
it built?
75,999, isn't it?
When was it built?
It was built in 1911.
Well, then you've done a great job. Most of the homes in New Zealand, and I think we've got some stats here somewhere, it says 54% of the homes in Dunedin were built before 1940. So the issue is that all houses built before the year 2000 have a limited amount of insulation in them, but you'll be able to work out very quickly from the consents that you've given in the last, since 2000, so the last 14 years, of that 76,000, how many of those would have insulation that wouldn't meet the current standard, and I would suggest to you that that would be about 70 to 80% of those homes.
Dunedin builds about 300 homes a year.
Yeah. So of the 76,000 over 14 years, you know, you've got 4,500 homes that you've built of the 76. So that means that 70,000 homes, less than 13,000 that we've done, still would need to have some level of insulation to bring them up to current code.
Yeah, there's a few people that ask questions, so
I think we're done.
Mike, and then could I? Sorry, I just wanted to check that stat. Did you say only 1 in 4 homes is a mortgage?
Correct.
So 3 out of 4. That's right across the board.
Across New Zealand. There was a stat that the Prime Minister actually spoke about not long ago when I was watching something on television. Because I thought it was more. Yeah. I thought it was about a third of the homes.
Just on that, some of them are often elderly, asset rich and they're the ones who use these schemes. So.
Yeah. I was just going to clarify that I think it's about 18,000 homes that staff established, or I think it was staff in conjunction with the Cosy Homes Group established about this time last year, had been done now, there have been some done since then. So yeah, possibly about 18,000, yeah. But I do have a question, and the question is around one of the reasons why the voluntary targeted rate has been questioned by some is the fact that we are not able to give financial advice at the same time that we support a ratepayer to take a voluntary targeted rate. So the upshot of that may be that they are actually borrowing, even though it's a targeted rate system, borrowing at a higher interest cost than they might be able to achieve if they were actually just going to the bank for it. Now there are other benefits around that, benefits around the BTR that, you know, for a whole range of reasons might make it a better value proposition for them, but we can't give them that advice, so they may be heading into it blindly, or they may not be getting the best. Do you have any comment around that?
It gets back to the number of people that actually have mortgages. So this is a mechanism for people who don't have a relationship with their bank, and it's an easy mechanism. If we look at what the cost of it actually is, it's about, if you're in Auckland, 2 cups of coffee a week. So it's actually not a financial burden for these people to pay this off on their rates over a 9 or 10 year period.
Just to comment there, often the people, if they're paying $3,000 for insulation, it seems like a bridge too far. Once they've got it, they realise what a great thing it is and what a difference it's made, and some people then pay off the target rate.
And often the savings will cover the cost anyway.
Yeah, I guess I'm not criticising that at all, and I guess I think the concern sits with more the fact that we can't give advice. So I was wondering whether or not you guys thought that it should be teamed with independent advice or teamed with some other service, or whether that's not of a concern to you guys.
In the relationships that we've had with 2 of the major councils in the country, so it's Auckland and Wellington Regional, that issue hasn't ever been raised to us.
Councillor Cameron.
When you say insulated, do you mean that the people who have been helped with this insulation have their ceilings done, or their floors done, or their whole house done, or what do you mean when you say we now have 17,500 insulated? Do you mean fully insulated everywhere? Because in Dunedin in particular, you know, you have a brick house, and are you really going to rip off the walls?
No. So the answer to the question is we insulate the ceiling and the underfloor, and in some cases where necessary, ground vapour barrier is put in, which is a polythene sheet which is put on the ground, stops the moisture rising out of the ground. We do hot water cylinder wraps and draft proofing.
And this is only for homes pre-2000, so you'd never pull the walls off to do the wall insulation.
So they won't have double glazing or walls, so it's top and bottom.
Top and bottom.
Basically.
So just...
and round the doors.
Yeah. And just as a statistic, something like 42% of heat loss goes through the ceiling, and about 15% of heat loss goes through the floor, and about 12% through the walls, and about 15% through windows. So the other aspect of it is get people to have really good curtains.
Councillor Wilson.
Not all insulation, I understand, is created equally,
And I mean, our house is fully insulated. I could be like you. Our house was built in 1880 something. But the difference being that it only does have a limited life, is it? And well, certainly the earlier versions of insulation.
The life of product these days ranges from 20 to 50 years.
But say before 2000, what was the age then?
Some of the earlier stuff shrink, compresses over time.
I've seen it in my room.
We top it up.
Yeah.
When we do that.
So there are people that have got no insulation, and we do what we call a full install. And there are people with some insulation, and we use what's called a top-up blanket. Goes out over the top of the existing insulation to bring it up to the current code, what's called an R value for protected people.
And you talked about certifying a product. Have you certified any wool product yet? Other farmers what?
Yes, absolutely.
Got it, thank you.
There's a product from a company called Terra Lone in Christchurch that is a service provider in our program.
Great.
Councillor Hawkins.
Thank you. One of the concerns that's been raised, I mean, this is a great scheme and a great platform, hopefully for an even broader one, but one of the concerns that's been raised with me most about it is the condition that it be installed by a certified installer. The labour costs associated with that have, in the judgment of people who would have accessed it, made it too expensive for them to do that. And I just wondered whether that's an ECA condition or a DCC condition.
No, that's an ECA condition, and the reason for that is that we want to have it installed in accordance with the guidelines of the building code, and specifically a building standard called 4246. That's a specific requirement. The consequence of us doing that is that we go and audit our service providers to ensure that they meet those standards, so that we know that the job is done correctly. A DIY could go and do it. You could go and do your own insulation, but if you left a gap in the insulation somewhere in your ceiling, you would lose your heating through it, and that would be a waste of money for you.
What's the, can I just ask what the qualification, is it like, if I was a master builder, would that be the kind of thing I could do?
The people that we get into the program have demonstrated their capability to deliver it meeting the requirements, and that's based upon the work that we do subsequently in auditing that. But they've got to demonstrate that they've been in this game, not like in Australia where you can just run up and down and do it.
They have to have $1 million insurance and training for staff and things like that. And the problem Robert's referring to is in Australia they actually kill people or burn houses down.
Themselves sometimes.
Yeah.
I just wonder how, if you were a small provider, is that a cost prohibitive thing to do to go through that accreditation process?
No, it's not. Okay. It's not an accreditation process, it's a demonstration that you can do the job.
Right.
And so we have providers that deliver 50 homes a year, and we have providers that deliver 7,000 homes a year. So we don't discriminate between small and large organisations.
And just on that, your voluntary targeted rate scheme here chose to use ECA-approved service providers, but it had a proviso that you would add in Dunedin-based organisations, and so Ellis Fibre has now become part of your scheme, because you wanted to generate employment like that.
And just lastly, I noticed on one of the slides it says that with regards to the new system that's targeting people with high health needs, young families and older people, that if you're a tenant, landlords may have to make a contribution to it. Under what conditions and to what degree is that landlord contribution?
Generally, what we're trying to do is get more people insulated, so the money that a landlord contributes to this goes into the pool to insulate other people.
But how, I mean, is it a flat?
It's a voluntary thing.
Ah, right.
And it's depending on how the service provider sells that to the landlord, but at the end of the day, if the landlord says, I can't contribute to it,
the tenant still makes
house for free, the answer is yes.
Great, thank you.
And the other part of the equation, of course, is what energy source you put in when you actually insulate it. Have you got any programs running to support clean energy sources at the moment?
No, we haven't at the moment. So we ran a program as part of the Warm Up New Zealand Heat Smart program, which supported a fund for insulating clean burning, installing clean burning heating appliances, i.e. heat pumps, low emission wood burners, gas, pellet fires.
They're still alive, are they? The supply available, or is it died?
No, it's still going, but we don't support that anymore because the greatest value for government is ensuring that houses are insulated first.
Just to comment on that, you see we've done 612 homes free. These are for the low income, high health needs. That's done this year. Your voluntary targeted rate scheme allows people to get clean heat. So we understood one of the things you were considering as your annual plan is reports on the targeted rate scheme, whether we continue or not.
It's going to come to the May 19th meeting of council, is that right? Oh, okay. Great, thank you.
So one of the things was, obviously, if somebody has their home insulated under this, your scheme would allow them to get clean heat paid off on their rates. They would pay on.
I'll do a quick one more. And in terms of heat sources, you didn't mention gas. Presumably, if it's flue, it's okay.
Yes.
You've got a policy in terms of what it recommends about non-flue gas supply.
We think they should be outlawed from being brought into the country.
Are you doing anything to make sure the government does that?
We're trying to, but I can't say that.
You couldn't possibly comment on that.
Being a government servant, no.
Absolutely, thank you.
Councillor Wilson, did you have another question?
Well, I was just wondering what ECA generally was thinking about. We had a submission this morning, which was meant to be the first one tomorrow on Solar Pro, which is a local company installing PV panels. And I'm just wondering, is there anything in the future looking at how good they are or giving us advice?
ECA at the moment does not recommend PV. The cost benefit is yet to be demonstrated. Until the price of PV reduces, the value, the net national value benefit does not exist.
It's not PV.
Oh, sorry, it's not PV. Sorry.
It's a hot air ventilation.
Sorry, apologies.
Hot air
Yeah,
ventilation.
it's a solar that
PV?
is PV based. Not sure if that's it.
Oh, sorry. I obviously didn't say the difference of anything you've seen before.
Councillor Peake.
Yeah. Thanks, great to see you back here, Robert. I just, we all sit around this table thinking this is a great idea, and it is, but we've got to get the message out to the people who really need this. And the last time I looked, we were struggling. There was a piece in the paper saying, we need more uptake of the under the scheme, and we weren't getting it. And my question is about, which I raised last time with you, was about the promotion of all of the warm Dunedin and cosy homes and so on. Would ECA give us a hand with that, and does it do that in any other centres? Do you have a shop window front? Do you have a promotional effort going on at the street level or in the centres?
So there's two answers to that question. One is we've got a national marketing campaign which you'll see on TV. There are 15-second and 30-second spots that are being added to the Jared promo, the energy spot stuff that we do. There is more energy spot ads planned around the home insulation stuff versus the other stuff that you've seen. So this time of year it's more dedicated to doing that, plus the 15 and 30-second ads. To answer the question specifically around do we give local support to service providers to market that, no we don't, we leave that for the service providers to do that. But in saying that, I have offered some money within the Cosy Homes governance group to do some marketing around creating profile for that organisation to be driven in the marketplace.
And just on that, this map here of the councils, at the moment we're running TV ads that say you can pay it off in the bank or you can pay it off in the council. Some councils clearly aren't there, but that's about 60% of New Zealand's population covered. So if you choose to drop out, which we hope you don't, then people will be ringing out based on our ads to you.
Councillor McTavish.
Well, Dave, I just wanted to acknowledge these guys for their role in Cosy Homes to date. There is a report coming forward on June the 3rd or 4th or 5th. I won't be here, but we'll be sharing it to give you guys an update as to where Cosy Homes is at. But Robert I don't think there can be any doubt as to your commitment to Dunedin and ensuring that we progress things just by your constant presence over the last year or so and your assistance in kicking things along. And I think we're indebted to you for that, and we're grateful, and we hope that your presence will continue. I think worth publicly acknowledging that and thanking you for that.
I quite like Sunday night in Dunedin.
I used to live in North East Valley and get up at probably 12 o'clock having worked on a newspaper, and it was still frozen outside, so insulation's important.
Go along, global warming, actually.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much. And well back and thank you.
Thank you all.